meeting to order. Good evening. Welcome to the week postponed May meeting of the Richland County Board. Thank you all for your understanding with the schedule change we had to make because of the weather. I would ask the clerk at this time to take the roll.
Carroll. Here. Miller.
Here.
Brewer. Here. Kramer.
Here.
McKee. Here. Renish. Hendricks.
Here.
Manning. Here. Gill. Here. Glassburner.
Here.
Harwick.
Here.
Woodhouse. Here. Turk.
Here.
Cosgrove.
Here.
Frank.
Here.
Severson. Williamson.
Here.
Cooey.
Here.
Fleming.
Here.
Brookins.
Here.
And McGuire. We have 18 of 21 got a quorum.
Thank you. Do we have someone present for the invocation from the Ministerial
I
Association?
do not see someone present.
We will move on to number 4. I'd ask you to stand and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, was the meeting properly noticed in compliance with open meetings law?
Yes, Mr. Chair, the meeting is properly noticed in compliance with open meeting laws.
Thank you very much. Item number 6 is to approve our agenda. We have before us a 25-point agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Mr. Chair,
No.
Yes.
we would be removing the ambulance
Yes.
service overview update.
Item 22B will be removing from the agenda. We will not have that report tonight. So with that change, a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make that motion to approve the agenda with the change.
Thank you. Motion by Kramer, second by McKee. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And we should also have the minutes from the April 16th and 23rd meetings of the County Board that were distributed. Everybody had a chance to look at those. Do we have any questions or corrections on either set of minutes? Hearing none, the chair declares those minutes to be approved. Item 8 on our agenda is public comment. Do we have a member of the public that would like to address the board? Yes.
Stay right here.
You bet. Sure.
So I'm Molly Vaughn with Congressman Derek Van Orden's office. I'm a field representative for him here in Richland County. So I've met some of you guys in the past, but I know there's new faces as well, so it's a pleasure to meet you. Just wanted to give a brief update from our office. We are a constituent service first office, so last year we closed over 800 cases, getting back over $500,000 back to constituents, as well as helping multiple veterans get 100% disability rating. So if any of your constituents are having problems with a federal agency, please have them reach out to our office and let us be able to see how we can assist them. In March, he voted in favor of the final 2024 appropriations package. It provided responsible funding for national security, defense, health funding for our healthcare system with medical research. It also included over $26 million in funding for the 3rd Congressional District, including $2.5 million for Richland Center to expand their infrastructure here in the city. Last week, Congressman Van Orden voted in support of the House Committee's agricultural advancement of the Farm Bill. So the Farm Bill is passed every 5 or so years, depending if it's extended. So it included 5 policies introduced or co-sponsored by Congressman Van Orden, including the Ag Vets Act, which would provide grants for veterans wanting to get into agriculture or ranching. Healthy H2O Act, which provides direct assistance to rural communities, individuals, and nonprofits to test their drinking water and fund filtration technology. The Dairy Farm Resilient Act to increase CAP Tier 1 coverage for the dairy margin coverage program to 6 million pounds. And the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act to amend current regulations that prevents whole milk in school. So kids would have an option of whole milk, reduced, low fat, and flavored options of milk. So it also protected the SNAP and food assistance programs. It provided provisions to maintain cost of living adjustments to account for inflation in the SNAP program. If you want to learn more, the Farm Bill is, I think, over 900 pages long. So if you want to know more, you can go to our website to see what all was included in that. On the Veterans Committee, last week, he also secured multiple wins in the 2025 National Defense Authorization Act. It included the TAP Promotion Act and ensuring military access to higher education benefits that were both introduced by Congressman Van Orden as well. It increased National Guardsmen and reservists from leave from 15 days to 20 days. So again, Congressman Van Orden, his #1 issue is to reduce veteran suicide. So some of these legislation is trying to help the transfer from active status to veteran status for our military members to make that transition easier. So some of that was included in that. So it's our job to serve you. So please, if there is anything on the federal side that we can do to support the county, to support your communities, please reach out. So thank you.
Any other member of the public wish to address the board? Hearing none, we will move on to item number 9. Resolution relating to canceling stale tax certificates for tax year 2011 and making an appropriation.
One second. Okay, so this will be number 24-30. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for canceling the following tax certificates for tax year 2011. You can see the list there. I won't read them all. Be it further resolved that the $243.48 is hereby appropriated from the general fund to the canceled tax certificates account in the 2024 county budget. Be it further resolved that the resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. This is being offered to you by the Executive and Finance Standing Committee on May 14 of 2024.
The resolution, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Fleming, a second by Cosgrove. Our treasurer, Jeff Even, is here. Anything you want to say about this?
No, pretty self-explanatory. This is just an annual thing that we do, so I'm just going through the steps to make it official.
Thank you. Any questions? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? The resolution is adopted. Thank you. Item number 10, resolution relating to canceling stale county checks.
This will be resolution number 24-31. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the following county checks drawn on Richland County Bank are hereby canceled. You can see the list before you there. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. It is again offered to you by the Executive and Finance Standing Committee on May 14 of 2024.
Resolution, do we have a motion on this?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Manning, second by Fleming. And another annual thing, right, Jeff?
Correct, just cleaning up the books.
Any questions on this?
Why are these so small, these checks?
They're typically checks issued from the county fair for exhibitors and participants. So a $1 check, I guess, is not very enticing to drive to the bank and cash.
Any other questions? Not all those in favor of the resolution say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? You've adopted that resolution. Thank you. Item number 11, a resolution approving the purchase of a new pharmaceutical-grade vaccine refrigerator for the Health and Human Services Department Public Health Unit.
This will be resolution number 24-32. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the purchase of a new pharmaceutical-grade vaccine refrigerator for the Public Health Unit of Health and Human Services. Be it further resolved that the quote received from Helmer Scientific in the amount of $11,127.60 is accepted and the cost will be covered by ARPA funds. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. And this resolution is being offered to you by the county board members of the Health and Human Services and Veterans Standing Committee. You'll note this decision was made on April 11, 2024 prior to the reorganization.
Do we have a motion to approve this?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Cooey, second by Glassbrenner. And discussion. Tricia, do you want to?
So one thing that I want to share for this item and the next two items is we have our funds that have to be used up by the end of the year. When we originally received these, they were only to be for COVID testing and vaccinations. Last summer, they expanded it, and so we presented to the state different options of way to spend the money. This is one of the items that we do need. Our refrigerator is too small that we have. This does connect to our phone, so it gives us notice if there are issues. It's just a very secure way to keep the vaccine safe.
Thank you. Anybody have questions on this? All right, if there are no questions, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Resolution is adopted. So that'll bring us to number 12, a resolution approving the purchase of network switches for the community service building.
This will be resolution number 24-33. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the purchase of new network switches for the community services building. Be further resolved that the quote received from JCOM Technologies in the amount of $48,471.28 is accepted, and the cost will be covered by ARPA funds. Be further resolved that the resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication, and is again offered to you by the county board members of the Community and Health Services Standing Committee on May 2nd of 2024.
Thank you. Do we have a motion? Motion by Harwick. And a second by Cosgrove. And Tricia.
So these switches, and Barb can help me if I'm saying it wrong, allow the computers to talk to each other. And so their lifespan ends next summer, but because we have the funds to use this year, we do plan to switch them out this year with the ARPA funds.
Questions? Yes.
Does this quote include installation or is that a separate figure?
I'm going to let Barb answer that.
So it includes the programming of the switches. The actual installation is done by the MIS department.
Thank you.
Other questions? There are no other questions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We've adopted that resolution. Item 13 on the agenda, a resolution approving the purchase of new phones for the community services building.
This will be resolution number 24-34. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the purchase of 100 new phones for the community services building. Be it further resolved that the quote received from Marco Technologies in the amount of $24,765 is accepted, and the cost will be covered by ARPA funds. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. This is being offered to you by the county board members of the Community and Health Services Standing Committee on May 2nd of 2024.
Okay, you bring the resolution. Do we have a motion? Motion by Glassbrenner, second by Harwick. And Tricia.
So here's my last one. So the phones that we currently have are no longer supported after I think it's June of next year. And so if there are issues with them, there'll be no support, no way to fix them. And so this is another opportunity to take care of them while we have the funds before we have to use county levy.
Anyone have questions on this? Yes, Mr. Carroll.
Do we know how old the existing phones are?
Barb, do you remember that?
Yes. They were put in with the phone system almost 12 years ago.
Thank you.
Other questions? All those in favor of the resolution say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Resolution is adopted. Brings us to item 14, a resolution relating to the county's contribution to the cost of town highway bridge construction required by Wisconsin statute section 82.08.
This is resolution number 24-35. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors, the county shall pay the following amounts as financial aid for the following bridge or culvert projects in the following towns as mandated by Wisconsin statute section 82.08. You have the list there. It looks like there's two of them for the town of Henrietta. Being further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication, and this is being offered to you by the Public Works Standing Committee on April 11 of 2024.
Very good. You've heard the resolution. Do we have a motion? A motion by Manning, second by Cooey. And discussion. Josh.
This is something we do every year. It's a chance to help the townships repair the culverts that are over 6 foot in diameter, because when you reach that diameter, the cost goes exponentially through the roof. It's a lot for them to bear, so at this point, they come to us and we do the work for them for the installation. They pay for everything up front, and we reimburse them 50% each year.
Anybody have questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Resolution is adopted. So we'll move to 15, a resolution approving the purchase of 4 plow truck body builds by the Highway Department.
Being resolution number 24-36, now therefore be resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the purchase of 4 plow truck body builds by the Highway Department. Be it further resolved that the funds for these purchases are in the County Highways Department's account of the 2024 budget. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. This is being offered to you by the Public Works Standing Committee, reviewed on March 3rd of 2024 and April 11th of 2024.
Resolution. Make a motion for us. Motion by Cosgrove, second by Cooey. And discussion.
Another item we budget for every year, it's a opportunity for us to keep our fleet refreshed and new because they only have so much life to them. A couple of these trucks that are on here actually a couple years old just because of time during COVID. Trucks were not available, so we had to wait to actually execute the body builds till we had trucks, but they were budgeted for and anticipated.
Anybody have questions?
Are they easier to get a hold of now, Josh?
Yes, they are. It's coming back around.
Any other questions? If there are no questions, then all those in favor of the resolution say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The resolution is adopted. Item 16, resolution approving entering into a contract with Finnish Excavating Incorporated of East Dubuque, Illinois, not to exceed $3.3 million.
Okay, this will be resolution number 24-37. Now therefore be resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted to enter into a contract with Finnish Excavating Inc. of East Dubuque, Illinois, not to exceed $3.3 million. Be it further resolved that the funds to carry out this resolution shall come from Fund 94, and approval is hereby granted for the county administrator to sign the contract. Be it further resolved that the resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passing and publication, and this is being offered to you by the Public Safety Standing Committee on May 3rd of 2024.
You've heard the resolution. Do I have a motion? Motion by Cosgrove. Can I for a second? Second by Fleming. And who's got discussion on this one?
Barb wants to take this or not. So there was an RFP put out for this work, and this is the contractor that it has been awarded to. This is all part of the funding for the radio tower project.
This is money we've already borrowed and have on hand.
Correct.
Anybody have questions on this? Yes, Mr. Carroll.
I wondered how this compared to the estimate budget number for that same work, and how many bidders were there?
Barb will have to speak to that.
Barb, do you know the answer to that?
We had 9 bidders. It came in just $100,000 above budget, but well within the contingency budget that we have laid out. So we're very pleased with the bids. Finnish has worked with both Mike Day and with Edge Consulting, so our project management and our civil engineers, and they come, they come highly recommended by both.
Thanks.
Thank you, Barb. Any other questions? And all those in favor of approving this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Resolution is adopted. Item 17, discussion and possible action approval of easement agreement between Richland County and Spectrum Mid-America LLC.
So there's not a resolution for this. What you have in your packet and what's on the screen is the easement communications. And I believe Attorney Wendell will likely explain this.
It's, they want to run a cable under the trail. I had discussions with them. They assure us it's not going to interfere with the use of the trail. There's nothing objectionable in the proposed language, and it apparently will help them get our constituents faster internet.
Question. So this is just going under the trail. They're getting an easement just for that access of that pipe location.
I can tell you how many feet down, but it was, well, my first question was, you know, is it we use this thing, is it gonna interfere? And they assured us, no, it's not. It's just so they can get under there.
Mr. Chair? Yes, Mr. McKee?
Are they gonna drill underneath the trail or open dig it?
They are going to drill, is what they told me, because they have said that even the construction of it is not meant to interfere with use. I don't know if it's this way and this way, but gesticulation aside.
Other questions? So do we need to take action to approve this easement?
Yes.
So looking for a motion to approve the easement, motion by Frank, second by McKee, to approve the easement. Any other discussion? Not all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? We approve the easement, thank you. Item 18, an ordinance relating to a parcel belonging to Thomas Gebhardt and Carrie Roth in the town of Aiken.
This will be ordinance number 24-8, amendment number 598 to original county comprehensive zoning ordinance number 5, that the following described 20.63 acre parcel belonging to Thomas Gebhardt and Carrie Roth in the town of Aiken is hereby rezoned from legal non-conforming NC to agricultural residential AR district. This ordinance shall be effective on May 21 of 2024. That needs to be updated to May 29 of 2024 because of our meeting date last week. And ordinance is being offered by the Natural Resources Standing Committee on May 6th of 2024.
All right. Do we have a motion on this ordinance? Motion by Gill, second by McKee. Any discussion? You know anything about it?
Yeah, this is a parcel that was zoned ag forest, but it was only 20 acres. And so it's not conforming, but it just had never been taken care of. They want to build a house, so they're getting the zoning squared away at the same time.
Any other questions? All those in favor of the rezoning ordinance, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Ordinance is adopted. Item 19, report on petitions for zoning amendments received since the last county board session.
There were none.
There were none, okay. And item 20, report on rezoning petitions recommended for denial by the Zoning and Land Information Committee.
Same thing.
All right. That brings us to 21, discussion and possible action, county board confirmation of new emergency services director.
So this is Mr. Michael Jackson. He is our selected candidate for the Emergency Services Director position. He comes to us with several years of experience on the ambulance service as a firefighter. So the emergency management side of things will be new to him. But he and John have a good plan as to how to ease him in and get all of his training and education done in the next 18 months. And so I ask for your confirmation of Mr. Jessup.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to confirm the appointment. Motion by Fleming, second by Cosgrove, to appoint our new emergency services director. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the appointment, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed?
Thank you very much. I
Welcome.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes. Looking forward to working with you.
Absolutely. Got a lot of good things planned and I'm excited to get to work. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so item number 22, again, we scratched 22B from the agenda, so 22A, administrators report, staffing updates, and current projects.
Okay, so you all received a weekly update from me today. I don't know if you've had time to read that or not, but I'll try to get back in the habit of doing that. It's been a little bit busy and crazy with the elections and the reorganization, but try to get back on track just to give you an idea of the things we're working on. So we are currently reviewing all of our CIP, capital improvement project, that were allotted for 2024. We audited back to about 2021. We realized that not all projects were completed. This is money that we are borrowing. We are spending money to borrow this money to do the projects that we need to do. And it seems as though some of them have fallen to the wayside. So those dollars, I have informed department heads that those dollars are no longer available to them unless they come and speak with me directly. They will be put right into our capital planning budget going forward. And then we are going to start meeting with everyone to check up on where they're at with their CIP projects for this year and discuss projects for next year. We have asked department heads to be very judicious with their asks at this point, simply because we are in a period of unknown flux right now. We don't know how the venture study is going to come out. We don't know what recommendations are going to be and what that will look like. We also have the wage study that is starting soon. And so we said, let's make paying our people a priority. Let's see what we can do without, not asking people to cut by any means, but let's just be aware of what we're spending and how we're spending it. And we also acknowledge that once we receive those results from the venture report in July, we may have to revisit our capital plan, and that's okay too. We're getting started plenty ahead of time. So we're working through all of that. We have set all budget meetings for every department at this point. So budget meetings are going to start right after the July 4th holiday. And so we'll get going on that to see where we're sitting and how things are looking for next year. We have had some substantial increases in needs just based on things that have happened this past year. But again, we've asked everyone to take a hard look. Is it a need or a want? Is it something that we can hold off on? So we're taking a good look at that. Larry is really jumping in. Our new finance director, Larry Erbs, is jumping in. He is getting well-versed in all areas. He spent time out at Pine Valley. I believe he's spending time at Human Services this week. Next week. To start working with them. So already has been very insightful, and it's been wonderful to have him on staff. So we're excited about that. There is a new maintenance of effort report required to show that we are maintaining the current level of law enforcement service that we provided the year before. We've also had to do that for the ambulance service. So Amber and Derek have worked through that and have sat in on all the webinars. This will be an annual report that will be required going forward. I have been able to review all of our staff with the new Department of Labor regulations for exempt staff. I've been able to look at all of those and look at the wages. And at this point, I think we're okay. Thankfully, I don't think we'll have to make any adjustments prior to July 1, but our wage study couldn't have come any sooner because next year with the new thresholds, we would have had to make some significant adjustments. So by that time, our wage study should be done and those new thresholds shouldn't be a problem for us. We have interviewed the Richland Hospital and another entity for occupational health. It turns out the county does not have an occupational health contract with anyone. And so everybody's kind of going all over. And in the spirit of doing more, combining our efforts and streamlining, the more people you have, the better deal you get. So we're just I've surveyed the departments. Where are you sending your individuals? The highway department has to send their people up to Hillsborough, right, Josh? Because they have to have blood alcohol breathalyzer tests, and they're the only ones that do it. But for the other routine things, we could, be using one provider. That way we have all of our pre-employment physicals done there. We have any mandatory immunizations or annual testing for tuberculosis, whatever it may be. And also if we have a work comp injury, then we have a consistent provider to go to and work with as we go through those injuries. So we're looking to get prices back on that to see what it would take to establish those contracts and hopefully create some efficiencies and billing consistencies as well. So more to follow on that. Everyone knows Venture Architects was here on site for 2 days on April 25th and 26th. The 25th, they spent all day out at the campus from about 6:30 in the morning until 6:30 at night, taking pictures of everything. They were on every roof, in every corner, in every crevice, looking at everything that was out there. And the following day, they were here in the courthouse and across at the Community Services Building. That is all part of the RFP to do the space needs assessment and the viability study on our buildings. That report is on track to come out in July. Last week, I distributed to all department heads a interview questionnaire that they had formulated. It's several tabs asking about, who is in each office, how much space they need, how many filing cabinets do they need, what type of desks, just all sorts of variations of different items for them to get an idea of what our needs are for workspace. They will then be on site June 5th and 6th. They will be meeting with teams of people, so the judicial people, the jail, and the sheriff's office, the community services, and then the rest of the courthouse to ask us clarifying questions. They may want to walk around, they may want to see our spaces, all of those things. So that is well underway as well. Looking forward to getting some answers and kind of being able to start planning how we move forward. I met with Josh Lean from Laval Telephone Cooperative. The county has allocated $590,000 towards broadband to Laval. They will be asking for half of it when they kick off later this fall, and they hope to have the project done by the end of 2025. So that will run 75 miles of fiber, serving 460 residents. And they also, Charter wound up giving back some of the monies that they had acquired and some of the territories that they had acquired because they simply couldn't do all the work. And so Laval may try to pick up some of those additional lines as well. So very informative, very helpful. He showed us some maps that we hadn't seen previously on our coverage, and Richland County is very well on our way to having well over 95% coverage in the end. So we're doing better than most. Wage study. So I have the initial documents and all of the data is into Tessa. I have uploaded all of our old position descriptions, so they're well on their way at work finding our comparables within our markets for our wage study. On June 11th, Tessa will be on site here. She will hold 3 employee sessions at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., and 1 p.m. And at 2 p.m., she will address our department heads and talk to them about the process. And at 5 p.m., she will brief the executive committee. So that is getting started, and it's going to be an exciting time. It's going to be a lot of work. And then additionally, we have identified Tyler Systems as it is an all-in-one HRIS, payroll, finance, and document management software. And it's outstanding. We're really, really pleased with it. We have one more demo for countywide financial and HR staff to participate in, and hope to be bringing the final numbers then back to the executive committee next month and here for your approval to get started on implementation, which will be very exciting. So that's it for now.
Questions for the administrator? Yes, Helen.
The township, northern Richland County, ours, Bloom.
Yes.
My chair was concerned that if Richland Hospital can only do this much, it takes a whole morning or afternoon to get that study done for these patrolmen, the drug and alcohol and well, it doesn't take long, but by the time they get to work and then they come here to Richland Center, then they have to go to Hillsborough. Then they have to come back around. So a whole morning it takes. He said it took them a whole morning to get that. Is there any way Richland Hospital could do this whole thing? What would they have to do?
We maybe wouldn't, I don't know. I mean, they don't offer the alcohol testing, and that's required. A breathalyzer test is required.
Is that big of a job to do that?
It's not that it's that big of a job, they just don't always offer it. I think it's really.
Blood test, isn't it, too? Could be just a blood test, too, can it? Or is it have to
They
be
want the blowing.
The breathalyzer is what they want.
Yep.
And then pre-COVID, they offered it, but when COVID hit, then they couldn't keep the staff on that were trained to do so, certified to, so then the center dropped out, we went to Boswell, the Boswell dropped out, now we're at Hillsborough.
So it's really just about the limited availability of the testing.
So there's not going to be any answer to that for us. We're going to have to pay them to do this. I mean, pay the employee to do this while they're just doing this, yeah.
Yes.
They have to go to Hillsborough after they come to Richland Center.
Well, or you could have the whole exam and everything done in Hillsborough.
Well, is that going to be okay? Because they were concerned that if you have Richland Hospital as your priority, are they going to?
But that's only for our county employees. That's not for Bloom's patrolmen. Are you asking for our county
Yeah,
employees?
because they were kind of upset about it, that it took so much, so the patrolmen too. So this is only the highway we're talking about.
Correct.
So they can just go wherever they want to, their alliances are.
Right now, they're doing the full at Hillsborough or only the breathalyzer, Josh?
Full at Hillsborough,
Yes.
because it makes more sense.
It makes more sense, so we just wouldn't have them transition.
All right, I got it.
You know.
Thank you.
Sometimes when it makes more sense, we've got to do what we've got to do.
Yeah, well, as long as you talk to county and I talk to town, this works for me.
Other questions? Yes. Item 22C, Pine Valley Investigation Report. Mr. Wendell.
So Candace handed out at the beginning of this the public-facing investigation report. Again, we wanted the board to have the first opportunity to review this, so it hadn't been released prior to now. However, unlike the last report on this you received, you know all the information in this already. I've provided the updates and closed sessions that underlie all of this. This is simply the information that I felt is appropriate to share publicly. Generally speaking, this is not my preference to do. However, given the high amount of community interest, the need to counter rumor and misinformation, it outweighed my general preference for confidentiality, which is informed in part. One of the reasons that I asserted that I was an appropriate party to do this is I can invoke attorney-client privilege. So if somebody comes and speaks with me, I don't necessarily have to share what they said with any of you, even though you're my bosses. The right to attorney-client privilege does not interact well with release of information to a third party. And so it is possible that by releasing this report, well, anything I say outside of that attorney-client relationship threatens my invocation of privilege for other information that I may want to protect. So I'm not saying that by releasing this report, I can automatically release all the information from any other report which may or may not have been generated here, but that's why I would be hesitant to do this again in the future. But basically, like I said, you know all of the information in this already. However, again, speaking to the public interest, if there are questions that you had for me that you'd like to ask in open session, I will certainly entertain those.
This is a public report. We will be making it available to the public, right?
Yep.
It'll be posted on the county website?
Yes. That was my recommendation. I would say we should, send it out to all employees, but one of the things you'll find in here is that the Pine Valley employees don't necessarily have email, so we don't have a way to guarantee their access to it. And then additionally, parts of our workforce are always going to prefer things in hard copy or non-electronic. So I think we talked about uploading it to their training platform.
To Reliance.
Yeah.
Mr. Brewer.
Mike, you said you wouldn't want to do this again. Maybe I'm paraphrasing.
Issue a public report on an investigation that I did. So either I would want another investigator assisting me, and then that investigator could issue their findings publicly. We would coordinate, but then the privilege that is unique to me can still apply. It's not, public disclosure and lawyers are like oil and water to a degree. I personally am a huge advocate for open government and would love community engagement, but the nature of my position is such that I have to default to secrecy and confidentiality. But I operate at the board's direction, so if you told me to issue a public report, I would do that. In this case, I exercised my own discretion and felt that it was appropriate, and I had told some of the employees.
Did you feel that we placed you in a untenable position?
I don't know. It's my job. Certainly, I wish that there had been a greater degree of trust and cooperation, but finding out that that didn't exist was very informative to the overall investigation.
Well,
So,
that was the gist of
yeah, to summarize it, I didn't take it personally. I knew it wasn't me that they didn't trust, it was us. Just a general distrust of the system. But no, I learned a lot from this. There are certainly things that I would do differently next time around. And there are definitely times when I would advise bringing in a third-party investigator. In this particular case, I wanted to know that we'd have someone there, someone who could sit in a little office in Pine Valley and have employees come to them. And I've assured everyone that I'm continuing to take any reports. I may not necessarily be the party to act on them from there, but if I do get more information, then I think it needs to go to someone else.
And going forward, do we feel that improvements have been made, improvements are being made in the general findings?
Yeah, we've brought on a new director of nursing, a new director of HR. I think we've gotten director of maintenance. We've gotten positive reports from that, I believe. And those address some of the issues that I raised, concerns that I had. There's been, I don't even want to say it out loud. Yes, the positives, the changes that I've seen resulting from either this investigation or just the natural evolution of the facility have all been positive.
Ms. Hendricks?
Did you ask for exit interviews from all the employees that have worked there for like 30 plus years that have left of recent?
I did not, because the employees you're speaking about, I had opportunities to speak with them, and so I was aware of what would have been said in an exit.
Okay, well, I think as a group here, I think it's a good idea to maybe suggest that, because now that they have left employment, they feel like they could communicate to us what happened and what went wrong, so it won't happen again in the future, or so that we can prevent it from continuing to happen to people that are still out there employed. So I think it's very important that we do an exit interview or require one, especially when people all of a sudden leave after that many years of employment.
Well, we can't force them to do an exit interview, because what are we going to do, fire them? But I have had that exact conversation with at least one of the employees former employees that we're discussing here. The idea that, your job can't be threatened anymore, so please, if there's something more that you think I need to know, come back and let me know.
Because a couple did not want to say a word until they were already have left employment from the county. And then they would be willing to say something to anybody that would like to talk to them. That they wanted to wait until they left employment.
Well, again, I would say if someone reaches out to you with that kind of information, direct them to myself or Candace, because that's the appropriate channel for that information. But certainly I've had that discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Thank you, Mr. Wendell, for your time and efforts in preparing this. Certainly, if we have other questions, we'll follow up. All right. Correspondence. We have a couple items of correspondence. The first one is up here on the screen, a letter from the Wisconsin Department of Children and Families to our Child Support Office, commending them for receiving the fiscal year 2023 Certificate of Excellence Award. I know it's been a challenging year for child support, but they maintained outstanding performance, meeting all their performance measures in that time. So congratulations to them. I wanted the whole board to be aware of the good job they've done. And then I think there was one other thing in our
There was, Mr. Chair, one other thing in the packet that was received this morning from Mr. Van Nelson from the town of Buena Vista. It's not in the packet because it just came in, but it should be on your iPad, so you
Yep,
should.
it's on the drive on the iPad, yep.
Perfect, so you should have it there. I don't have it for the screen, but you have it before you.
Yep, some correspondence from Van Nelson about flags on veterans' graves, so you should have a copy of that to be able to read that correspondence. Do we have any others? No? Very good. Future agenda items. Looking forward to our next meeting in June that hopefully will happen on schedule. Yes.
I don't have a future agenda item, but I have a question.
Okay.
You have the folder with the bios, but I don't know if other people can get some of them to open, but it says they have to be converted to PDF, and we don't have that ability on our iPads, so most of them I can't open.
Yeah, I just looked at it.
Really?
3 of them are there, but
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if they can be converted to like a Word or.
I'll have to check with MIS because they set it up so that it was basically a submission on the county administrator website, so that it would be easier for all of you to get to them. And now we have this problem. So it seems like every time we try, there's an issue with these iPads. So we'll see what we can do.
probably the ones that we can see are the ones that did it before you sent out that second paper, we could just use your Word.
Yeah, I think that's probably what happened.
So, again, any future agenda items? Look at us, we spent, $4+ million in less than an hour. Ready for item number 25. Mr. Manning moves that we adjourn. Do we have a second from Supervisor Fleming? All those in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.